Hey guys, I just want to come on here because it's a new TikTok video out. It's actually based on an old video from 2019 where a Harvard law student is at a moot court competition and she faints. I'll play the video so you can see it. But basically she faints while she's having this moot court competition, and she gets back up and keeps going with the competition after she's fainted. So I'm gonna play the clip and then we can kind of get right into it.
Choose what the test is, right? Now we have to see whether this is called the congressman.
It's rational insofar as that it allows for children to be protected in their...
Okay, so you saw what happened, right? So the Harvard Law School moot court competition, for those of you who are not law students yet or who are not even in that field, a moot court competition is where basically students come before a panel of judges and they argue about an issue that's on appeal before like a pretend appellate court, right? And they argue they have arguments before these judges and they prepare a lot. There's a lot of them line. I think in this case, Harvard gets some pretty high name people to come in actually to play the judges in this case, including Merrick Garland at the time. So it's a lot on the line, right? So I guess it was she was under a lot of pressure. She seemed to be maintaining her composure throughout the first part of it, and then suddenly faints, gets back up, drinks some water, and like, okay, what? Right? Doesn't say I need a break or whatever. So a lot of things came to mind when I saw this, and I think a lot of people were commenting on it, like the aspect of mental health, the fact that people were like clapping her on, that she keep pressing on even though she just fainted, almost the toxicity of that push forward, don't matter what came about. So I want to just say at the onset, whether you're in the legal field or not, I think that there is a history of people just like, keep going. We don't see you as human beings. You're just basically a machine that's here to do something or to provide me something, right? And I think people kind of lose the human side of it, right? They're like, they want you to provide a service to them or a product to them, and they don't care what's going on with you personally because they've hired you to do something. And hold on one second. And I think to a certain extent, yes, I think you pay for a service, you expect to receive the service or product that you paid for, right? But then you also have to have that grace in you to say like, okay, but these are actual humans and things do happen, right? And I would want somebody to afford me the same grace. But because of the kind of society we grew up in, you don't afford grace to nobody because nobody's afforded you grace, right? So the cycle just continues. And I think it kind of starts like in elementary school where you're rewarded for having like a no absences. They get rewarded for that. And then so in your mind, you're like, oh, I must always show up. No matter how I feel, no matter what's going on, always show up because I want to get this award for having perfect attendance, right? And then when you get to be an adult and you're given vacation days and sick days, you're hesitant to use them because you've been ingrained to say like, oh, I don't want to ever have any absences. I want to have perfect attendance. And you see people that go years without using any days, basically falling apart, coming into office, coming into a job that doesn't really care about them. And if they drop dead the next day, they will replace them with somebody else. And so I think it's a problem. It starts at that age, the elementary school age, middle school age, high school ages, where you're rewarded for perfect attendance versus thinking about your mental health and thinking about, what's important. Don't pull yourself to school if you're sick. I think nowadays we're in this COVID era where people are like, okay, that was the case before. Now, if you even have a cough, a tickle in your throat, don't come up in here. So it's become more relaxed than before. But pre-COVID, they like, come in, maybe you'll feel better as the day goes on, right? And so that's kind of where it started. And so Harvard is an Ivy League law school and there's a lot of prestige surrounding it. And I think in this situation, she was, the stakes were high and she knew it. And she didn't want to let down her team. She didn't want to let down her school. And she's like, I'm going to press forward. There are some good qualities to that, right? You want somebody that doesn't just give up easily, right? The persistence, keep pushing on despite adversity despite problems. That is a good quality to have. Where I find the problem lies is when, especially in the realm of law school, mental health, you're already being challenged like you've never been challenged before. And then you have this added piece in there where you're like, oh, maybe I should not like destroy my physical body also in the meantime, because I feel mentally I'm already being, you know, I don't know the word for it, but it's very challenging to say the least, right? So I think in this situation, she was, you know, had some things going on, and then her body physically reacted. Like, your body can only do but so much, and it's like, oh, okay, we kept trying to tell you. And then when your body just gives up on you, you're like, what happened? And you thought, and this sometimes happens with like moms or parents in general, like, oh, I need to keep going. I need to keep going until you can't keep going because your body didn't stop you. And now you're forced to not keep going because your body says, I need a rest. You only get one body and you need to take care of yourself. So in this situation, I can see both sides of it. I commend her in the sense that she wanted to push forward because, you know, there was a lot on the line. But I also am like, girl, it ain't worth it, because tomorrow that competition will be over and this is still your real life. Like, are you going to be okay? Like, that competition is over. The next whatever challenge is on the forefront. And now are you prepared for that too? Are you going to push yourself to the extent? So I kind of want to know what you guys think about it, because I know some of the aspiring law students, some people are in law school now, can relate to what she was going to. Some aspiring law students like, is that what it's going to be like? That's what it's going to take? For some, not for me, although I do know that I remember in my first year of law school, I was feeling sick, and it was the crim law exam, final exam. And in law school, you only have one exam. And for crim law, I was feeling sick, like vomiting and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fail crim law. I'm going to have to repeat this over again. And it was just like, so much is on the line. I've been like, I was fine all semester, and I'm freaking vomiting on the day of finals. So I tried to like get myself together and like come in and take the exam. And I didn't do as well as I wanted to do by any stretch. Granted, it was also a multiple choice exam, which I was not good at anyway, but compounded with the fact that I wasn't feeling my best, just made it like, well, I'm glad I didn't feel it. But I think in that situation, as I reflect back on it and see what she's going through and see what I'm like, maybe I could have like just taken myself to the doctor's office and gotten a doctor's note and possibly been able to take the exam at a later date, because medically speaking, I was probably not in the right state to be taking any exam. But hindsight is 20/20, right? And I was probably scared that wasn't an option. Just like she's like, I mean, I can't just not walk away from it. But yeah, I mean, the video has garnered a lot of views. It's not even a new video, but it just resurfaced again. I kind of just like, I need to hop on here and talk to you guys about it. I don't want you guys to think that always happens, but I want you to be mindful of it so that you don't experience that. And learn from my experience. Like, if you feel sick on the final exam, if you in this hospital, you can't get out of the hospital, you're going to have to take the exam at another time. And things happen, and communicate that. And they have contingencies in place that will help you be able to take it at another time if you're incapacitated and you cannot do it. So anyway, I just want to hop on here. I know this is not our typical content, but it does relate to law school and things that you may, you know, encounter in law school and then in life. Like I said, even if you're not a law school student, but you feel the pressure to kind of keep going when you really should stop, this is kind of a reminder, like, you might want to stop before your body stops you. All right, I'll see y'all in the next video.